Okay, how we look?
I think we look good.
Okay, all right,
You ready?
I'm ready. All right, welcome to Lady and the Hamp. I am Hampton,
I am Kristen.
the lady, right? Obviously, um, and yeah, so we decided to do a thing. We decided to, in honor of 1 year together, we just celebrated our 1 year anniversary on August 8th, so a little over a week ago. And we thought that it would be a really cool idea to do a YouTube show about love, marriage, relationships, all that good stuff. Because we feel like although we're still growing and learning, we still have some things that we can share and things that, we're reflecting on just to make ourselves better as well. So, yeah. You want to say anything?
No, I think you pretty much captured it. We just want to share our journey and see if it can help others on their journey.
Okay. So, um, we decided to, for this first episode, is just reflections on our first year of marriage. So we have a few questions that we have written down. We actually intentionally decided not to talk about the questions or talk about the answers to the questions because we wanted this to be as natural as possible. Now, some of the answers to the questions we may have had conversation about in the past. But for the most part, we haven't actually taken the time to answer these questions for each other. So this is fresh for y'all, okay? So you're going to get the raw. I don't know what she going to say. She don't know what I'm going to say. I mean, I don't think it's going to be nothing scandalous, so don't get too excited. But
No tea, y'all. No tea.
yeah, not planning on that. No tea, just wine. So we can start with the first question.
All right.
Oh, time out. Disclaimer. We got kids, we got cats, and whatever else. So if you hear something, hey, it is what it is, okay? Like it just is what it is. We ain't trying to be that professional or that formal. So yeah, if we get interrupted by something, we just get interrupted by something. That's just that.
That's just that.
So
All right. You ready?
I'm ready.
Okay. What difference do you think it made that we got married later in life? Later in life meaning I am 38, you are
How old am I? I'm about 29 plus 16. Is my math right?
sir. Anyway, so we got married later in life. What difference do you think it made, just compared to those getting married in their early 20s?
I mean, so what makes this an interesting question for me is I did get married in my 20s. So I got married later in life and I got married earlier in life. And so I think part of the difference of getting married later in life is the fact that I've been married before. And so I have been able to learn from that previous marriage, learned learned a lot about myself. I think it's actually the biggest thing for me is that getting married again now, um, I had learned more about myself, my own insecurities, my um, boundaries, and just all kind of different things. So for me, it's made a huge difference in that respect. Just being able to take lessons that I've already learned from doing this before, and coming into this, trying not to make some of the same mistakes. Um, yeah. Now, I also have to say, um, my philosophy of marriage is different now
Hmm.
than it was then. So for me, that's a huge part. And I don't know if I think of marriage or look at marriage the same way a lot of people do. But before I get into that, I'll let you answer the question.
Oh, okay. I was gonna ask if you were gonna break that
I
down.
will. Would you go ahead and answer?
So I'm a psych major. I've been a psych major, I say, since first grade. I've always been interested in psych. So, your brain isn't even fully developed until you're 25 years old. So that executive decision making section isn't even fully developed. So, such a lifelong decision like that, to me, isn't something that you want to make that early because you're evolving so much between the time that you're 18 when you can legally get married and the time that you're, 30 or, around that age. So I think that, you want to wait until you are mature enough to make a good decision. Also, later, or me getting married later in life means I've dated some, so I have been, in relationships where I can determine things that I want in a relationship and I can determine things that I don't want in a relationship. And those are things that I wouldn't have been able to determine if I got married earlier in life. I know that there are people who do it, and they figure it out along the way, sometimes the very hard way. And I don't necessarily say that we'll have it easier since we're getting married. We've gotten married later in life, but I do think that the lessons that we've learned along the way will help us.
Yeah, and I mean, in your case, it said that you've dated some, like, and that's helped you. Honestly, you probably shouldn't have dated at all and just waited for me. That's
Really,
probably what should have happened.
I know you're my knight in shining armor, babe, but knight in shining armor needed some boundaries.
Anyway, so what I was going to say about getting married later in life and my philosophy of marriage kind of shifting. Uh, when I got married the first time, it was, I think, more is really just more about what I wanted
Mm-hmm.
at the time. Like at the time, I wanted to settle down. Um, I wanted a family. I wanted, a particular thing, and I had a particular checklist of the things I was looking for in a woman. Which even my list changed. But my it wasn't so much about Okay, let me say this. Now going into this, we were in Bible study, and Reverend B. Kevin Smalls was sharing some stuff with us about Dietrich Bonhoeffer.
Mm-hmm.
There's a book about calling.
Mm-hmm.
And in that, one of the things that came up was the idea that even marriage was a calling.
Mm-hmm.
And that hit me like,
All right, everyone is not called to be married.
yeah, but that just really hit, it stuck with me.
Mm-hmm.
It really, really, really stuck with me. Now, when I was in that Bible study, this was post first marriage, pre this marriage, right? So, I was single again at the time. And so really it just really stuck with me, the idea that marriage was a calling. And so that's part of how I approached, at the time, thinking about, well, for one, I'll be honest with you, there was a period of time I ain't think I was anti-marriage, and two, I just really didn't think it was going to happen again. Okay, so like I had kind of just like but anyway, when I did start contemplating getting married again, I was looking at it from that perspective of it being a calling, and it wasn't just about feelings. It wasn't just about what I wanted. And you and I talked, and I remember you and I kind of came to a point where we used a different term for each other, which was purpose partners. And so that was really my philosophy and my approach to getting married again. It was looking at it like, who is it that God has designed to help me um, accomplish what He wants me to accomplish in this life? And then on the flip side, how can I then as well also come together with this person to help that person accomplish what God wants them to accomplish in this life? How can we complement each other in that way as individuals striving for our individual goals and dreams, but then also some collective goals and dreams? So yeah, it wasn't just about feelings. Feelings helped, okay? Feelings help. Like having feelings and being in love is a part of it, was a part of it. But if that was the only criteria, that's not a good, for me, that wasn't enough, right? Just the feelings wasn't enough. Just the attraction, like, yes, the thick thighs and nice boobies a bonus, that helps. But those things in and of themselves couldn't be the reason to get married. Like, it had to be that I was coming together with somebody who I felt like God was calling me to, and also calling us to a higher purpose. So I feel like I just talked a lot right there. I guess we should get to the next question.
No, I think that was good. I mean, I think because you're going to have some people who are kind of right there at the crux of making that decision. Is this the one for me? And those are some things you have to consider. Like you said, it can't just be the physical attraction. The physical attraction is nice,
Mm-hmm.
but it's not going to get you through. It's not. So, it's great to have some other things to consider, when you're thinking about who you're going to marry.
Absolutely. And we got two cats that look like they want to catch fire.
Yeah.
So anyway, don't mind the cats in the background unless they catch fire. Um. Okay. Next question.
How did the pandemic affect our first year of marriage?
You go. You answer that one first this time.
Um, so I would say that I really appreciated having this year together. Um, it helped me to learn who my partner is. Like, we work so hard, all the time. So just having this time, even though we were working, we were both teleworking and we were both kind of, busy doing our own thing, but just having that time together where I could look over and see my husband, even though he's on calls. And I've told him, like, that's one of the most attractive things is to hear him on a business call or hear him in a meeting and, speaking his stuff and just being all intellectual and stuff.
Okay.
It's actually really sexy. So, I think that this time together, really just helped us to solidify our union in the first year.
Yeah, I definitely feel like the pandemic was a make or break situation for a lot of relationships. Uh, like literally being stuck with someone for extended periods of time. But like for us, I don't know. I just feel like it was perfect timing, honestly. We got married during the pandemic. And then, of course, we were both teleworking. And it was great. It was great. It wasn't, you hear stories about other folks just button heads and tired of being up under each other and, this, that, and the other. But, being in, we renovated the space to make it our office, and I'm at one desk and she's at another desk. And even if we weren't just talking to each other all day, I could look up and see her. Like, and it was nice to know that she was right there. And I mean, there were even times where she'd be doing things or I'd be doing things, or I could listen to a particular speaker or a conference, and then I would, take my headphones off so she could listen with me, or so we would share, different things at different times. So I don't know. It was great.
Or just even something as small as having breakfast or having lunch together, things that we don't normally get to do because we're both at work.
Right. Yeah. So I felt like for us, it was a perfect scenario. It really did help us to bond more. It helped us to just learn each other more. And fortunately, we like each other very much. So that worked out. There's a lot of folks, they love each other, but they don't like each other so much. And being stuck together ain't, stuck for us was great. Stuck for some other folks, sorry.
Not so much. But maybe they needed that. Maybe they needed that concentrated time together to determine that maybe this isn't the best situation.
Maybe. All right, I'm going to read the next question because you read. What number we on?
3.
Number 3. Of course, my eye's bad, so I can't see it. All right. What's a goal we have for the upcoming year? It's a goal we have for the upcoming year. Are we answering for both of us, or a goal each of us individually has for the upcoming year?
Or both.
You can go first again. I'm going to drink some more of this good wine.
Well, in this upcoming year, I hope to graduate. I hope to have my master's in clinical mental health counseling. So that's a major goal that I'm trying to accomplish. And also just try to build something together. And we've kind of been just shooting off various ideas of things that we could do together. I went to a Warrior Woman conference years ago before I even, we weren't even liking each other at that moment. And there were lots of married women speaking. And one of the women made a point that your marriage should have a vision and a mission. And to me, I was like, well, isn't that like a business? But then when you think about it, you are somewhat of a business in a way, So you really should have a vision for your marriage and a mission for your marriage. And so I think that that's kind of what we're trying to develop right now is our identity as a couple. And then what our mission and what our vision is. We've already determined that we are purpose partners. So whatever it is going to be something with purpose. So I think within the next year, to get back to the question, we should at least have a solid vision for where we want to go as a married couple.
Okay. I think you answered that good for both of us. Yeah. We talk a lot about the future and future goals that we have individually and things we want to do together. So I do like the idea of really being intentional about kind of putting that vision and mission down on paper, coming up with that and working towards some of the things and really putting some planning and steps to those long-term goals we have. So as far as a goal for this year, I'm not saying we're going to attain some of the goals we set, but I think maybe for this year we map out, like we do some goal setting this year for the stuff that we want to accomplish down the road. So I think, as you were talking, I think that's a good mission and vision. I mean, a good goal for us is to get the mission and vision down, and then set some actual tangible checkpoints and steps to reach, some of those goals that we have. That's a good question.
Agreed.
Okay.
What has been the highlight of the year?
Highlight of the year. Highlight of the year. What's a I think we kind of talked about it. already. It's like for me, I think the highlight has been the amount of time we had together during the pandemic. Now I'm back in the office now, and so I definitely feel it.
Hmm.
Like it's so different. Like I was really dreading going back into the office, and it wasn't because I was dreading the work, but I had gotten so accustomed to not only just the lifestyle of teleworking, but like I wouldn't we wouldn't be together like we were.
Right.
So that probably was the highlight of the year, is just us being together that much.
Hmm. Yeah, I know that for the most part, for the morning, I can usually make it through. But come about 2:30, I'm like, all right, where's my husband? When are you coming home?
Okay.
Because I'm still teleworking.
Right. Right. I leave and you still here.
Hmm.
So, okay.
Yeah, I mean, and also the wedding. I would say the wedding
Well,
was
yeah.
definitely a highlight.
Yeah, definitely. All right. Number 5. In what areas have we struggled over the last year? Hmm. So, first of all, let me say, we haven't had any like major fights.
Right. Right.
Um, and when I say major fights, I mean just disagreements or arguments or whatever. But like, we're not. I think we both have set a standard for each other that like
Hmm.
there ain't gonna be no like yelling
No.
and name calling and cursing and ain't gonna be none of that.
No. No.
So that's not even. We're not even. I'm not even expecting that. That's not in the realm. But as far as just not getting along or beefing, like you know, it's weird because you hear people talk about how even like the first 5 years of marriage,
Hmm. Are the
are
hardest.
the toughest and whatever. And I'm so I ain't gonna lie. I guess it's like part of me that's like, okay, when's that
When is
gonna
it
happen?
coming?
When's that gonna drop? Like, um, but outside, but again, so things have been really good. I'm trying to think of a struggle. I do think that there's still, for me, probably for you too, and this might be tapping into one of the other questions. I think there's still some residue, from previous relationships that potentially hinder, you know, either one of us being as vulnerable or open at certain times. Um, so I think that probably may be one of the biggest struggles.
Hmm. I think for me, I mentioned earlier that I'm still in school. Um, and so working full time and being a full time student and being a new wife and being a new wife in a blended family
A whole lot of
is
blending.
is difficult. And it's hard to find the balance. And so many nights I find myself not going to bed until 4 o'clock in the morning. My husband's been in the bed sleep for hours, and I'm like, all right, this isn't the way to start a marriage. This isn't a good look. But he's a trooper. I will say he is a trooper, and we know that there's a light at the end of the tunnel. So we just try to persevere.
Yeah, and I have to admit too, like there have been plenty of nights where I've been up doing things, trying to work on things, side business, whatever else, and you'll be like, "What time you come to bed?" And I know that's code for "Please come to bed now,"
Yeah.
and I don't always comply. Is he playing with the head? The cat. Okay. Anyway, I don't always comply. So, and sometimes I feel bad. I feel guilty. Like, I know she wants me to come to bed, but I really want to get this done. And then between that, or even like a lot of the renovations, there were times where like I would just stay up all night working on the house or doing, you know, flooring or painting or whatever, it's because I wanted it to be done, when I had the energy to do it, and you'd be wanting me to come to bed. So I know there's that. And I do think there's some periods of time where we both are so busy,
Mm-hmm.
like I feel like we miss each other.
Right.
And I don't mean just like miss each other, like, oh, I miss you. I mean like literally, like,
Like ships passing in the
yeah, we
night.
just
Like,
missing each other.
yeah.
And it's not often, but there are times where I just feel like, dang, I feel like we haven't connected
Mm-hmm.
in the last couple days
Right.
because things have just been so busy. So I think that's something that's a struggle at times. Fortunately, I don't think that happens too often, but yeah, there are times when we get both are so busy that you know we don't
Mm-hmm.
necessarily connect. And so I don't know. I guess just being intentional about making sure. I mean, we try to be intentional about making time for each other. Um, we have certain shows we like to watch together. That doesn't. TV don't really happen much no more.
No. We are so behind on all of our shows.
We said originally that we try to do one concert a month. Doesn't always pan out, but we try. The pandemic, of course, slowed that down. But we did actually do some live stream concerts. But we're looking forward to getting back out on the concert scene. We got Lettucey coming up. We got Patti LaBelle coming up. That's been on my bucket list. So,
We've
yeah,
also discovered some local talent.
for sure.
Some great local talent. DC is a great area for that.
Yes. So we did some of the live stream concerts we did with like local folks, and was really pleased with those that we saw. So yeah, so saying that to say that yes, while there are struggles, and one of our struggles is just making sure we make time for each other, we do have some things in place to try to be intentional about making time for each other. But it does get hard sometimes.
It does. It does.
So
All right.
who's got the next question? Did you ask that last one? No, I think I did.
Go for it.
But anyway, was there anything you were apprehensive about before marriage?
I think I had the normal premarital jitters. I think that I've been independent for so long that I was really just apprehensive about giving another person that much power. I've been on my own since I was 18 years old, and so I have learned to survive as a single woman. So I think it's really just been a matter of learning how to submit. I know that's a dirty word to some, but just learning how to be a married woman that, can ask for help and can, you know, learn how to, not necessarily do as I'm told, but, accept feedback and, just things
Do as you're told.
I didn't normally have to learn, as a single woman. But, I think that apprehension was there because it takes a lot of trust, once you have been on your own for so long and, having to give yourself over to another person that way.
Interesting. I was joking about the do as you're told thing, by the way. Um, you've been doing a good job, babe. Good job.
Thank
All the
you.
things you just talked about being apprehensive about, I think you've been doing a great job with that. I was, yeah, any of my apprehensions, for one, I was not apprehensive about you. I was more apprehensive about myself and really just making sure that I ain't mess it up. Like I guess that's my apprehension. Just making sure I didn't do anything to mess it up. I wanted this to really work. So, but yeah, other than that, yeah, I don't think I had any apprehensions other than that going into it.
Yeah.
So
Next question. do you see the benefit of getting premarital counseling?
Absolutely. And let me just say, premarital counseling looks very different depending on who you go to and what your intentions are for even going. Unfortunately, I think for a lot of people, premarital counseling is
Check in the box.
yeah. It's a formality. It's a formality. Like they've already made up their minds what they want to do, and they go to their 2, 3 sessions or whatever what have you, and that's that.
Mm-hmm.
For me personally, I wasn't going to propose. I had made up my mind. Now, I had at some point decided this is the woman I want to be with. However, for me, premarital counseling was a prerequisite for engagement, not marriage. Like I wasn't even going to propose till we did the premarital counseling and made sure we had an expert, a professional, kind of put us through the ringer, so that we both, could
Are you going to call a thing a thing?
what?
You wanted to make sure I wasn't crazy.
That's not. I never said that. I never said that.
Mm-hmm.
Did I say that? I never said that.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't even about really, dude. Okay, first of all, let me say this. Yes, in general, period, I want to make sure you wasn't crazy. But that wasn't necessarily the purpose of the premarital counseling or motivation for premarital counseling for me.
Mm-hmm.
I knew that a professional could help us vet each other,
Mm-hmm.
not just you, help us vet each other in a way that we could get everything on the table, you know, and just really figure out what we need to figure out, before we made this step. And it actually, I do believe there were some topics and some issues that came up that I don't think would have come up had it not been for the premarital counseling. So I think it was very beneficial in that way. And it wasn't like we were necessarily trying to hide something
Mm-hmm.
from each other, but the questions that the counselor asked us and the exercises that she put us through caused some things to surface.
Mm-hmm.
We were able to address them, work through them, and keep it moving. But I do think that outside of that environment, those things would have still surfaced.
Right.
And they may have surfaced in a way that our reaction to them may not have been beneficial.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? So having it in that setting that we had it in, I believe helped us. So
Yeah.
yes, premarital counseling. I definitely advocate. I advocate for pre-engagement counseling. Okay, not just premarital counseling, but that's just me. But yes, premarital counseling I think is crucial with the right people, the right counselor, and folks going into it with the right intentions.
Yeah. And I also think, even beyond premarital and pre-engagement, I think that just marital counseling in general, you don't have to have problems in order to have marital counseling. I think that just kind of to see where you are and just to keep your relationship at a level where communication is open, it's great to have counseling every once in a while. So I am a big proponent for counseling, period.
Okay, agreed. With that being said, we haven't done counseling together since premarital counseling,
Right,
so
yeah.
it's not a bad idea, not a bad thought. So, all right. Uh, what's your favorite thing about being married?
Um, so my favorite thing, and I think it kind of goes back to the song that I chose to walk down the aisle to, which is Jennifer Hudson, "Giving Myself Over." And it's kind of what I alluded to before. Just having a person that I could be completely transparent with. There are no secrets. This man knows everything about me. There is nothing that a person can pull him to the side and tell him that he has not already heard from me or has not already experienced with me. Um, it's just having this person that I can just bear my true self with. I can cry, I can be upset, I can be angry. He has heard some things fly out of my mouth that most people may not get to experience. And I don't have to worry that, he's going to run out the door because of what he experiences. I can just be completely open. He's my partner, he's my home.
Aw. I feel special.
Mm.
My favorite thing about being married? Oh, what is my favorite thing? Butt naked cuddles every night? We might have to edit that out. A lot, I think very similar to the things you said. Um, Now, on one hand, I know in some respects, like, I still struggle with being completely vulnerable, but it's not because of you,
Mm-hmm.
right? So I know that with you, I can completely embrace and express my vulnerability. So that's a good feeling, like to know that uh, no matter what, you ain't judging me, you're going to encourage me, all of that. So for me, yeah, it's and I think too because it's so different from my previous marriage. And so you it's just very refreshing um to know that to look forward to coming home, you know, to my wife is refreshing. To know that she's excited to see me when I come home, to know that I have somebody that is truly has my best interest. Like I trust you to have my best interest at heart, no matter what we got going on. So, having a partner like that for me, um, that's a big deal. So that's probably it. My purpose partner, my PP.
So when we were coming up with these questions, right,
Uh huh.
and we discussed this last question, and though we didn't go into depth, a question did come up, kind of piggybacking off of that question, and you asked me, um, was marriage necessary to have those things,
Oh, got you. Yes.
right?
Right.
So if you can have all of those things without necessarily being married, then why get married?
So, I mean, I think you'll get different opinions from people about marriage. There are people that have been together for years and haven't officially gotten married, and they have healthy relationships
Mm-hmm.
that they are completely satisfied in, and that's completely fine because that's between them and their spouse.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so yeah, and now I remember. Yeah, some of the things you mentioned, like yeah, we generally could have and achieve those things without being in a marital relationship.
Mm-hmm.
Um, what was the question?
Why get married?
Uh, so for me, I guess this is going to the last question. What's the
Mm-hmm.
motivation to get married?
Mm-hmm.
There came a point in our relationship that I decided this is the woman I want to spend and invest the rest of my life with. We weren't married yet,
Right.
but I made that decision at a certain point.
Mm-hmm.
So getting married didn't, August 8th, 2021 for me wasn't when I made my decision to spend the rest of my life with you. August 8th, 2021.
2020, baby.
What's this year? Oh, Lord. Sorry. We got married in 2020. August 8th, 2020 is not when I decided I wanted to spend the rest of my life with you. August 8th, 2020 was when I publicly proclaimed, my commitment and my love to you, and my commitment, my love for you to others. Like, I look at it the same way if you think about like baptism, right? Uh, some people think otherwise, but I don't believe you have to be baptized to be saved. Okay. However, accepting Christ is what it takes. Repent, believe, receive. Christ is your Savior. He died for your sins. Jesus loves you. That's what it takes, to be saved. But getting baptized is your public display, your public profession of this relationship that you're entering to with God and with Jesus. So that's kind of how I looked at like the marriage. Like, this is me to my children saying, this is the woman I'm choosing to be with. This is the woman I'm choosing to be a mother figure in your life. Getting married was me. For me, it was like presenting you to the world as, hey, this is who I'm rocking with. Now, had we never had a wedding, you were still who I was rocking with. Like, I had made that decision well before that day. Like, that was a decision. I wasn't changing my mind about that. So yeah, I guess that's kind of, where I am, with respect to the motivation for the act of getting married. But for me, it doesn't necessarily change how I intended to navigate our relationship moving forward. So,
What do you think about the covenant piece of it? Do you think you can make that same covenant with God without necessarily having a wedding?
absolutely. I had. Again, listen, you don't think I prayed about this prior to the wedding? Like, again, this is like, I took this again because I had a marriage that didn't work out. Going in and really thought I'd never get married again. At one point swore I'd never get married again. But, you changed that. Good job. Kudos to you. But again, for me, I had my conversation with God about what I felt, what he was calling me to do. And I didn't need to have a wedding ceremony. Personally, I don't think, to accept that particular call. But, at the same time, it was definitely something that I appreciated. And, I do feel like it was necessary in the sense of making that, I don't know if it sounds bad or not. Like, I feel like it was just because of where I already was in my mind and in my heart. It was almost like it was more for everybody else than it was for me.
So we're on the same page, but I'll let you finish your thought.
That's it. That's my thought.
So when you think about a baptism, right, and you think about the process of the baptism, and at least the ones that I have attended, it's not just the pastor speaking over the person being baptized. It's also the church. that has a particular script to say, pretty much accepting this person into the body of Christ.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think that a wedding is similar in that now, these people have witnessed you get married.
Mm-hmm.
Now they are to support this union.
Mm-hmm.
So, kind of similar to a person being baptized, the people who witness a person or two people being married, they are then to support that union. And we've seen that.
Yeah, for sure.
We've seen that since, talk about the pandemic. We have seen the community rally around our family and support us. And I think that people are a lot more willing to do that with a married couple.
Yeah, no, I agree with that. Yeah, I didn't want it to come off. I was hesitant to express some of that because I didn't want it to come off like, oh, you didn't want a marriage ceremony. But and it's not, and I'm not saying that at all that I didn't want it. I'm just saying that the things that were important to me, the decisions I made, the covenant I made with God, like all of that, I didn't need a wedding ceremony to do those things.
And you didn't need a legally binding agreement.
Right. No.
to do those things.
No, because whether it's, again, right, like, because listen, at the end of the day, that agreement, just like there's a certificate on paper that says we got married, you can get another piece of paper that says y'all ain't no more. So, but as far as I'm concerned, like, I made a choice, at a particular moment in time, like, this is it. This is who I'm trying to be with. This is who I feel God is calling me to be with. So this is how I'm going to move, and carry myself in that fashion. And so there came a point in time prior to being married that I decided that's how I was going to navigate. That's how I was going to operate. So, yeah.
I'm glad you did, babe.
I'm glad I did too. So, I think that's it. Is that all the questions?
That is all the questions.
All right, well, I hope that y'all, appreciate getting a little insight into Lady in the Hamp. We're going to try to do this once a week. Think we can pull that off? We're going to try. Like we said, it'd be busy around here. So we're going to try to do it once a week. It may not look this formal. Okay? So, but, we do have different topics we want to discuss. And cover.
If you have questions, please be sure to put them down below, and we will review and answer them in the next video.
For sure. So yeah, give us some feedback. Ask your questions. Subscribe to the channel. So this is Hampton Conway. There's gonna be a lot of different content on the channel that we're working on. Don't forget to check out the Get Fat podcast that I launched recently that you can find on Spotify and Anchor. You can go to hamptonconway.com to get access to a lot of the different things we're trying to do. So yeah, do us a favor. I feel like I watch so many people do this on YouTube.
Like, comment, subscribe.
Yeah. all that. Do all that stuff. And yeah, we'll be coming back with some more. So this was just like an introductory episode, us reflecting on our past year. It is like 2:00 in the morning. So
late night edition.
Yeah, this is definitely on the late. So, but hey, thank y'all for watching.